Hey, what's up, everybody? Looking at Bitcoin right now, yesterday we had this three-wave shape and it looked like that, right? Had a three-wave shape, and then later on we actually came up and took the high. So, it looks like we got potentially five waves, but it's not a five-wave impulse. This could potentially be a leading diagonal, which would imply more downside, but without taking out the low with a reversal. So typically a leading diagonal, right? You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's kind of like a rising wedge or something. And then you get a three-way pullback somewhere down here. You could see all of this liquidity, right? So taking that out would be a good buy. But we have to see it. This is just an idea. If it comes impulsively, different, right? If it comes in a three-wave shape, then we can get a big move to the upside. So that's what I got for Bitcoin now, right? Yesterday, obviously, it was looking like a three-wave shape. We're going to come down. We got a three-wave shape, but then we came and hit the high. So we actually have five waves, right? So, again, I think it could be potentially a leading diagonal. If it's not, then, I think we have another wave lower, right? So, for example, this would be 1 and 2, and then you would have 1, 2, basically 3 and 4 and 5. So all of this would be 3, right? So you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's wave 3. Then this would be some type of wave 4, and then you get wave 5, right? So if it's not a leading diagonal, then that could be, because the way we have it now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it looks like a finished wave. So we have a 5-wave move here, right, with a 3-wave pullback, and then 5 down. So by the way, this was an ending diagonal. So just to give you a little bit of a, you can see, right, what an ending diagonal did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what happened? We got a 3-wave pullback that took us right back down to these lows. So if I, for example, flip that upside down, now the inverted chart looks like what? It looks to me like a leading diagonal. So this is what it looks like, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all overlapping each other. You have this quick move down, right? Move up and then back down. So you have this 3-wave shape, and then you have a 1, 2, and then you accelerate to the upside. So that's what it is, right? So when we go down to the 30-minute chart, and now take that same concept, right, and then look at that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we come down, we come back up, come down, right, getting back down to these levels, and then you get a 1, 2, and then you accelerate to the upside. So that right now is my main idea. If this doesn't give me a 3-wave shape and we start impulsing down, then it's going to look like we're going to take the low and get another wave to the downside. Because this, to me, if it is really, really bearish, right? Could be wave 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. So this could be a wave 1, a wave 2, and now we're getting wave 3, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then even if it was a bearish, we would still need to come up for like a wave 4 and then come down, right, for a wave 5. If it's going to be an impulse, right? So far, A, B, C, go. But if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's going to be more downside, right? So still very, very interesting sort of situation here. And, you know, when we look at, you know, gold, for example, it had also this 3-wave shape right in the middle. So this wasn't a 1, 2 to the downside. So hopefully this isn't a 1, 2 to the downside either. But yeah, I'm still really liking this fractal here. Basically, right, you have this ABC right in wave 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe we get the 5th and it, you know, has that impression of what gold did. The big test is going to be when we retrace, right? So whenever this wave is finished, and it will finish, right? It's going to finish at some point. Now, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if it's 1, 2, all of this is 3, 4, and then 5. Whatever that case may be, after it's done, how does it look going back up? Does it go back up like this? Does it go back up like this? Right? Does it go back up like this? You know, so there's a lot of different ways it can go up. Basically, does it move up impulsively or does it move up correctively? So again, once this, we're not going to know until this wave finishes. We got to wait until it finishes. Once it finishes and we see how it goes back up, then we'll know, right? We could still obviously come back down here, right, and backtest this area. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get divergence, right, something like that, and then continue higher. So that would be a completed ABC, and then go. So we got plenty of wiggle room here. So let's look at the sequential. Now the sequential, right, remember we had a 3-day 9 buy, has not yet activated yet. Once we break above, we need a green 1, right? We need a green 2 going above a green 1, breaking above the red dots. We don't have that. We have we have a red 1 and a red 2 underneath the red dots. So for example, right here, you can see we had a 9. We had that red dot. We pulled back. But we had a green 2 going above a green 1, going above the red dots. So that's what we want to see here for this thing to get activated. Also, moving along to the 4-day chart, we also have a 4-day 9 buy, right? And that 4-day 9 buy is coming off of this 8 doji here. So there's a good amount of evidence to suggest we should have at least a retracement, or at the minimum, you know, a 4th wave pullback. Now, could it be over? Could the 4th wave be done already? You know, it's possible. So, you know, we'll see how that plays out. But I think we should get either one more on the microstructure, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if this thing's gonna start oscillating in a range in here, right? We want to see a bottoming structure, because being under this line here is a little bit dangerous. especially if we come up too fast and retest and get rejected. So we kind of don't want it to go up. We kind of want it to go flat here for a little bit, muster up enough strength, and then attempt to break the line, right? And then maybe back test the line, and then maybe continue higher, right? So something like this, where we're sort of just, you know, going sideways essentially, and then once we break above these red dots, it'll start to then activate the trade, right? So yeah, that's basically it for Bitcoin, right? That's basically it. So anything else could it be on this small time frame here on the 1 hour chart? Well, I mean, it could be, right, still obviously an ABC, right? And now we're getting another 3 down. So maybe you get another 3 back up. So then it could be a WXY and then come down and take the low. Or, again, if it's not going to do that, it's going to come down and revisit the low. I do think that if we don't, you know, I think we're going to come down here at some point. So somewhere in that range will be retested, in my opinion, right? Not financial advice. So we'll see how that that plays out. It could be a WXY. It could be a leading diag. So we'll see. We'll see. So that's about it. Let me switch gears and go to dominance here. So if you look at this, let me go to, this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This looks like it needs to come up a little bit. Seems like 1, 2, 3. Maybe hit the high, then come down. That's what it kind of looks like on the 1 hour. But what I wanted to show you is, let's go to like the 4-day. So when I look at dominance, I like to look at the chart upside down, because when you look at the chart, it just looks a little bit weird. So what I do is I invert it. Now it looks like a normal chart, right? So up is down, down is up, right? So what do we see here on Bitcoin dominance? Could be telling a big story here for, you know, the Bitcoin dominance chart. You could say, well, who cares? That chart, I mean, this chart here tells you when the alt season happens, right? This is like one of the biggest charts here. So right off the bat, what do we have? Well, to me, we have reaccumulation structure in here, which means this thing's going to break to the upside, which means when you flip it upside down, it's going to break to the downside, which means alts are going to go up, right? So what this is obviously it's a impulse, right? And then we have a rise, we have a crash, we have a retrace, we come down for reaccumulation, and now we're going sideways. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, getting ready for that blast off, right? You can see the same thing happened back with Bitcoin over here. So we're somewhere right in here, right? We have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. So we're somewhere in here, right? Maybe we have to come and grab a liquidity down here before, right? So let me go back and then flip it back upside down, reset the chart. So yeah, we're getting some, let me take this off. We're definitely getting bearish divergence on the higher time frames, right? You can see like on the 4-day chart, right? This is going up, and this is going down. It's pretty strong too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back down, maybe hit the high again, and then continue going down. So then when we flip that upside down, look at that. It kind of looks similar to what the COVID dump, right? So back over here, gotta flip it back. That's our liquidity grab right here, right? So same thing, right, with the 5 phases of the market: rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, liquidity grab, right? So it came down, it hit the high, and then bam. So, right, if we go back to dominance again, let me invert it. You know, it could look something like that, where we hit the high, we slam down, and then we go. Which means what? Which means, you know, an alt season should be coming around the corner soon. So if this thing comes down, which I think it will, that's going to give a good alt season. So you can see we are retracing, and we have not yet made it to the 618. So that's another reason why I think we can get this spike here, right? So we come up, we come down, we get this spike, we hit the 618, 702, get a strong rejection, and then slam down again. That's what I would like to see happen, right? And then essentially, this is basically reaccumulation, when in reality it's more like distribution and a retracement level. So basically, yeah, that's about it for the dominance. The Russell had a little bit of a move. You could say, well, who cares about the Russell 2000 or whatever? But, you know, according to some analysts, the Bitcoin chart, and I agree with this, needs the Russell, right? You have the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow, but you also need the Russell to break out and go into expansion in order for Bitcoin and crypto to go to an expansion. So we just had a pretty big engulfing candle here on the 4-day, right? Let's look at the weekly. Also, we have a weekly engulfing candle. The week's going to end in 24 hours. So if we can close above this high, you know, we're 1 point of resistance away from breaking out here. And this could be what it really needs, right? Because let's see where we are in the resistance. Let me put this down here. Okay, so we're between the 618 and the 702. This is a critical area. If we break above that 702, you know, it could lead up, obviously, to all-time highs. And if we can get that in the Russell 2000, that is the missing link for crypto to go higher, right? So we'll keep an eye out on that. But yeah, it does look pretty interesting. It looks like we had a base down in here, like some kind of Wyckoff base. And by the way, now that, you know what? Now that I look at it, it kind of looks like XRP a little bit, where we had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dump. Here's XRP. You got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dump, right? It kind of goes up and down, but it actually dumped all the way and took out the low, unfortunately. But anyways, let's get back to the Russell. Does anybody know why they named it Russell? Like, why Russell? It looks like they named it after Frank Russell Company, which launched in the index 1984. It's a stock market index that tracks the performance of 2,000 small cap companies, making the bottom 2/3 of the Russell 3000. The Russell 2000 is often used. Okay, makes sense. So when we look at the chart, it you know, it doesn't look completely bullish. It kind of looks a little bit bearish as well, because, you know, I do like the 3-wave shape, right? We got 3, and then we have 3. So, you know, if this turns into if this third leg here turns into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it could be an extended B wave before we go down. So that's one way to look at it, which is an ABC, right? The other way you can look at it is this being A, B, and C, like this, right? Where or basically it's a three-way pullback. So this is an impulse to the downside, and this is a three-way pullback, and we're going to get more downside. That's another way you can look at it, right? And then go up. So basically a complex ABC structure. So, it's up or down, right? Unfortunately, that's the case. When the hardest point of a chart is if you have point A, the top, and point B, the bottom. If you're right in the middle between these 2 points, it's literally anyone's guess, right? So typically traders wait for that region to either be rejected or, confirmed. And hodlers don't care one way or another because overall it's going to continue to rise. But for us, we want to know for crypto-related purposes, right? Because if this thing expands, then we have a good shot at crypto being expanded. So when I say it's anyone's guess, it's not really guessing when you're using wave structure. So the wave structure suggests, this is some kind of three-wave shape here. So and this wave itself looks like 1, 2. It looks like we need to come up and hit the high here. That's what it would seem like. It seems like we have an impulse, right? First of all, if this was coming this low here, right, was coming from the low, but it actually took out the low right here. This is an important thing. Since it took out the low, that tells me what? Liquidity, right? So why were they targeting that low if they were just going to bring it down? There's a reason. Why? Because the longs the market makers knew, or they wanted to fill their bags because they have a good feeling that this is going to continue higher. But they wouldn't break a low just to come up here, right? So to me, if the price stalled out, right, we had a double bottom. If it just stalled out here and it went up, that would be one thing. But it actually took out the low. So that tells me it's probably got more upside. More upside to go. For example, right here, they took the high. They're going slightly down. Boom, they grabbed that liquidity. Why'd they do that? Just to take it down, right? So usually when they do that, it continues in that direction. I mean, same thing with Bitcoin right here. It came up, it took out the high just to bring it down, right? But look how much down it went. It didn't just go down for a pullback and then went back up. It went down, 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 right? So if we look at that from that perspective, right, from the Russell 2000, that would be the case there. So I like this. Also could be Wyckoff accumulation here. With this being the spring phase, that's the liquidity grab. Now oh yeah, look at that. So watch this. So, let me see, where's the, right there. So it's not perfect, but some kind of Wyckoff structure. And you can see that green circle there. Potentially is where we are now, right? So we have this move up, right? This move back down. And then we go 3 up, right? And then we come back down. So that was our spring. This is our spring. Then we shoot up. We take out the 2 highs. We shoot up. We take out these highs, right? And now we're right here sort of oscillating, getting ready for the breakout. And it looks like that's happening now. So if we can break out and back test and continue to rise up here, that will be a very good sign for crypto. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Now, if we come up here and you know, because there's a lot of resistance, right? If we come up here and then we hit the high and we quickly come back down and get rejected, it's going to look like this, where you come up here and quickly get rejected. It's going to look very bad. So hopefully we don't get shorted up here. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that's all I wanted to say for that. Anything else? Let's take a look at theta here. Anything's changed on the 1 hour? No. Looking bearish though. It is dumping right now. Dang it. I was looking at this bounce here and I was going to take a short and I missed it. Okay, so it could also be a diagonal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We have a 5-wave shape. We come all the way down deep. We come up and then we come down, right? If we have a 3-wave shape. So a diagonal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want a 3-way pullback, coming back down to these lows and then exploding to the upside. So kind of like, you know, a rising wedge here, but you come down here. That's basically the idea. Same thing as Bitcoin is doing. So yeah, let's see how that plays out. Another thing too is obviously it can just be, you know, I really like how if it was a 3-wave move, that's one thing, but it actually took the high. But I'm not sure if it's just part of the C leg, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have A, B, and then C, which means you would come down. If this comes down in 5 and we get a 3-way pullback, and then, you know, if it gets impulsive, obviously we're going to sweep the lows here, right? So then when we go back to the 4 hour, what we've been saying here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So when we look at the 5th wave, you know, if it is bearish and we look at the 5th wave here, then what we have on this wave is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. So it looks like almost completed, right? But if this is a diag and we get a 3-way pullback, then we can go up. So either way, I think we're coming down here. Depending, you know, if this is 5, we break the low and we go, or this is a diag and we're hashing out a bottom. So that's about it. Let's see. Now, unfortunately for XRP, it doesn't have that diagonal shape. It has only a 3-wave shape, right? So if it can come down and then pop the high, and then we get that 3-wave and then go up, that would be nice to see. But until then, it kind of looks like this is an impulse. This is like a channel. It looks like it needs to come down, unless if we pop that high, right? So kind of like this here, right, where you came down, right, and then you had this little channel up, right, but then you just continue down. So that could be what's happening here. But all in all, I mean, you know, I think we should be getting close to being finished with this wave here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. I mean, this could be 3, 4, 5, or it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, you know, we'll see how Bitcoin fares during the next week or two, and it's going to give us a lot more insight as to this bottoming process. By the way, XRP also had a 4-day 9 sell, right? And the reason why that's important is because the 4-day 9 buy was really, really accurate. The 4-day 9 sell called the exact top, and now we're sitting here at a 4-day 9 buy with a reversal sort of doji candle in here, right? So let's go.